So how do you make just about any type of order in Thinkorswim? In this video, I'm gonna walk you through how to make advanced order types and just how to customize your own orders. So if you have some setup that you wanna trade, you can create those orders using this. So Thinkorswim does already make a few custom orders for you. If you go just right here and go to buy custom, just by right clicking on the stock, you can do that on a few different places, but generally just go up here and you can do buy or sell custom and then give you an OCO bracket or just a stop. And I do have some videos that go into those a little more in depth if you're not sure what those are, but I don't want to go into those too much in this video. Now, if we just quickly click on this stop, you can also come down here to the order and you can change this up to a few different things as well. If you wanted to add a trailing stop, that's another way to quickly get a trailing stop customized order as well. Now, one thing you could do is with all these custom orders, now, especially if you make one and you want to use it a lot, you're going to want to save it, and you can actually save these orders. So here I just made, let's say, a quick trailing stop, and I want the trailing stop to be $1 behind the current price of when I bought it in. And so that could just be a trailing stop I want to use all the time. And so you can save this by coming down here right next to the delete button and do save custom order. And then that'll bring up a screen to save it, and you can name it whatever you want. So I can just name this $1 trailing stop, and then that will save and I can use that. I just go back up to where I do buy custom order or sell, and you can see that right here I have that $1 trailing stop or that custom order I just made. And if you want to delete it, you can go here and delete it as well. If you want to change up your orders, or maybe you made a mistake, but that feature is also there. Now, really what I want to get into here is just making your own orders. And so all we're going to do is just do a quick buy, and then that's going to bring up our order tool, and we can essentially add as many orders here as we want, and then also change the type of order. So right here you can see advanced order, and it brings up a lot of different options for you to do. It is always going to be on single order when you just do a basic buy order like that, but you can change it to a lot of different things. So going down here, this blast all is actually going to allow you to buy shares of different stocks or sell different stocks and buy stocks at the same time. So if I wanted to buy Facebook here, I could then go to Apple and add a buy of Apple here, and that will actually add that there. And I could actually say, oh, maybe I want to sell it instead. And you can see the two different symbols here. And I could put both of those trades in at the same time. And so that's all blast all does. And then if we just go down, most of these are pretty self-explanatory in terms of this next one is just first trigger sequence. And so all that does is it's saying the first order in this line, so it would be this Facebook buy order, is going to, once that gets filled, it's going to trigger all the other orders in a row. So actually, if we have another order here, if I just add a buy order as well of Apple, how this works is if our order of Facebook gets filled, it'll then put this next order of Apple into the system, and then it'll work and try and get that filled. And then once that gets filled, it'll then put the next order of Apple into the system, and it will try and get that filled. And so that's why this one is first trigger sequence, because the first order triggers the sequence of orders that you have laid out for it. And then of course the link you want to leave, it'll just link with the last order. If you want it set up like that, you can. There are a ton of different options to link this to, but if you want it to go in that kind of sequence, you want to just leave it on what it's set at. And then you can always have these customized however you want. Now the next one would be first triggers all. That would just be, instead of them going in a sequence, once your orders of Facebook gets filled, it'll just put both orders in, and those will try and get filled at the same time. It won't go in sequence like the last one. Now the next are all for triggering OCO orders. And so what this will do is first triggers OCO order, and then first triggers 2 OCO orders, and then first triggers 3 OCO orders. And then you can also just put a normal OCO order in there. So what you'd want to use just the OCO order for is if you already had shares in a stock, but you wanted to put like a buy and a sell stop in there to protect both sides of that stock, or to sell for a profit and to buy for a loss when the stock went against you, you can use that right there. But so what these do is, the best way to kind of visual this is, well, this would be a normal first triggers OCO. That would essentially just be going back up here and doing the buy custom with OCO bracket. That is the first order triggers an OCO. And you can see right here, it already sets that there. And then the 2 and 3 would be extra brackets of the OCO. And so that can make you a really big bracket of OCO orders. And the best way to actually show you that is if we go here to Facebook, and in the active trader tab, I'll just change this back to single. If you go to the templates here, they have trigger with brackets. They have the 1, they have the 2, and they have the 3. And so all this does is it'll create 3 different brackets for trading. And so if I just quickly buy 10 shares here and try and get filled right away, this will then create that 3 bracket order. I bought 10 shares, and the first bracket will be kind of a closer bracket, and then the second will be further out, and then the third will be even farther out. And then if you did just 2 brackets, that would then we'll delete these, and this is what that would look like. And then the 1 bracket would just be normal OCO order of having your stop and your limit further up. And so that's what those kind of order types do. And so that is really all walking through most of these. Now, one thing that can help a lot too is over here all the way on the right is you'll see as you highlight these, if I just go back to single order again, if you highlight these, you can see that you have 2 options that come up. Now the first will be a gearbox, and it will bring up this screen that'll allow you to have a little bit more customization. Now you can do conditions here, which is just going to be, you can actually tell your order to submit at a certain time and at a certain day. So let's say you either trade after hours, or you never trade while the market's open, but you want to put this trade in at, let's say, 10 a.m. while the market's open. And you won't be able to do that because you don't have access to a computer, but for some reason you want to put this trade in at that exact time. This is how you can do that. You can say, okay, on this date, I want this to go in at 10 o'clock. And that is when the order will get put into the system. And then you can also tell it to cancel at a certain time as well. Okay, so if this order doesn't get filled in an hour, I want this to then close because for some reason I have that hour window for this to get filled. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. And so that is a way you can do that, and you can change some of the more basic conditions there as well. But this is definitely a big feature that comes with clicking that little gearbox, and then you can save that, and then this will actually be highlighted showing you that there is a change there that you have put into the system. So if you forgot that you did that, you can actually click here to show that. Now, this next box over here, clicking it as well, brings up you different few options. There's also the save button here. You can copy the order, and then you can also duplicate or create opposite order. And so this is really nice for making some of those brackets and stuff, because you can just have this buy order here and then create opposite order or create duplicate order. and that will add it down here really quickly. It won't do it if you're in single order because this is only single order. But if you do it in something like Blast All, where you can have more orders, you can then duplicate opposite, and it'll allow you to expand this. Now, just to let you know, Blast All will only allow you to send 8 orders in at a time. These do have maxes that you can send in. You can't just send 100 orders in at a time. And then over here, they do actually have an analyze trade, and you can also create an alert for this if you wanted to. You can say, okay, I want this alert at this exact price, and maybe that'll tell you if you get filled. You can get notifications sent to your phone. But this is also really helpful for figuring out everything with your trades. Now, the analyze button is a little funny when you're just looking at stocks, because if you just analyze a trade like this, it is just going to tell you that, because we're buying 100 shares and selling 100 shares, it's not going to tell you much. But for a trade that's actually going to be where maybe you buy 75 shares of one stock and 50 shares of another stock and then sell 30 shares of another stock, this could be kind of useful for maybe beta weighting against something. So because it's kind of hard to put the exact price that you're going to make on 3 different stocks, you can do something that's called beta weighting, and that is essentially putting it against the actual S&P 500. So you can say that statistically, if I have 100 shares of Apple and I have 50 short shares of Google and then 30 shares of Facebook, if the S&P 500 goes up, what am I going to get in return with having that weird setup of buying and selling stocks? Hey, so thanks for checking out this video. I hope you found it useful in learning how to create more advanced orders. Now, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. And if you like this content, make sure to subscribe and always check out my other videos. Hopefully they will be as helpful as this one.